Thank you very much, and thank you for having WWF here. And I agree. I think the ecological aspect of, or the environmental impact on the ecology is generally not necessarily understood, and sometimes it's the lack of understanding of that which leads to the kind of problems that we face today. Sustainable agriculture in Punjab is not just about the environmental impact, but today it's about the viability and whether it will continue in the longer term, what Mr. Patnaik said earlier. And for us to be working on this issue is primarily because of the impact it has on the water systems and the biodiversity, and the lack of biodiversity, that the impact that it has on biodiversity, and the biodiversity dying out as a result of those impacts. And when you see those that biodiversity getting diminished, it's a sign of the health of the ecosystem, and then the sign of the ecosystem of our health. And what it means for us. And I think that's something that has started to be felt very strongly in Punjab, about the kind of health impacts that they've been having. So from our perspective, we've been working primarily to reduce the input usage, whether it's pesticides, fertilizers, or water. All of these things have an impact. So when it's pesticides, it's not just about water extraction, but also the pesticides going into the water and going into groundwater, and having an impact on the salinity, on the overall productivity of the particular soil. So from our perspective, there have been a lot of issues in terms of the agricultural production, overuse of pesticides, not applying them in the right measures, and that has been the major impact. And we felt that it was important to work on cotton, because cotton uses a significant amount of pesticides along with paddy, and it's important to be able to address some of these issues. There's a system called Better Cotton Initiative that was developed to address some of these issues, including social issues, and the idea was to reduce the environmental impact. This is a system where some of the private sector companies felt that they wanted to reduce their environmental impact in their supply chain. So if a company, textile company, is sourcing products in their supply chain from, for example, agriculture in Punjab, whether it's cotton or other commodities, they want to reduce their environmental impact. And that is one way of triggering that change in the overall system, in addition to various other aspects. So we've had some good results as a result of those initiatives. Better Cotton Initiative was something that we initiated with the help of the government, with Punjab Agricultural University, with SRTT, that's Sir Ratan Tata Trust. And the idea was to create that awareness and bring more stakeholders and adopt a multi-stakeholder approach along with Columbia Water Center to create that awareness. And it has borne results already in the last 1 or 2 years. 25% of cotton already is better cotton. We want the entire state of Punjab to be a better cotton state. And when I say better cotton, it's having reduced pesticides, fertilizers, and reduced the water usage. Initial results have shown that 13% of pesticides have already gone down, 18% of fertilizers have gone down, and water use efficiency has gone up by 21%. So we've seen some good results already on the ground, and we feel that scaling it up and having an impact will definitely help. The other issue that I think has been missing in some of the conversations is about the policy impact, and what does policy mean for agriculture in general in India and specifically in Punjab. So if you look at pesticide and fertilizer usage, I mean, whether you're looking at just urea or NPK of inputs into agriculture, you realize that because of perverse incentives, like giving high incentives on urea itself, that has resulted in overuse of urea, very significant overuse of urea, and that has had major impact on the soil. And with those kinds of incentives, in addition to, I think, MSP that was for paddy and for wheat, all of these have had very perverse incentives and resulted in a greater damage than it otherwise would have. So these are some of the factors that we feel that need to be addressed, especially at a policy level, because without that, a lot of these incentives would not have led to the kind of impacts that they have. The other, which I think was touched upon was regarding the mobile applications. We've just launched a mobile application along with the Columbia Water Center, and the idea is in Punjab itself, which is giving more live on real-time data. And the uniqueness about it is that it can that you can give information, you can get information back, and it's not just one way; it's both ways. The farmer can ask a question, and live information can be given. This is being tested, and we certainly hope that it can actually result in the kind of impacts, because extension systems don't necessarily reach the farmers in time, or they're not necessarily following some of those aspects. The other aspect is greenhouse gas emissions from agriculture. That is something that we feel has an impact long term as well, and sometimes we need to understand, is there a direct or correlation between increase in pesticide fertilizer usage and greenhouse gas emissions, and that's something that needs to be understood in greater detail, and that's something that we hope to explore more with NABARD. The other aspect that I wanted to talk about is the health impact of what all of this means. According to WHO reports, almost 60%, there's been a 60% increase in cancer rates in the country. And I'm sure the percentage specifically is higher, much higher in Punjab, and there is a train called Cancer Train. These are the kind of impacts that we're going to start seeing more and more, and until we do something about it, and maybe it's the health of the individuals that will have a faster impact on people changing behavior, as opposed to just the economic or environmental aspects of sustainable agriculture. Thank you.